Talent can run in a family, so can access. Some players break into elite academies because they're undeniable. Others arrive with a built-in shortcut, a famous surname, the right relationships, or a family network that makes auditions feel optional. And it's not always about fathers, it can be an uncle, a brother, an agent connection, even a club linked in a circle. Today we're ranking the 7 biggest Nepo babies in football right now. Starting at number 7, Rico Lewis. Rico Lewis is not the son of a footballer, he's not the brother of a superstar. So why is he on this list? Because his route into Manchester City's first team had Pep's favourite written all over it from day one. Let's break this down. Rico joined City's academy young, talented kid sure, but Manchester City's academy is stacked with talented kids, dozens of them. Most never sniffed the first team. But Rico, he made his Premier League debut on August 13th, 2022 and his Champions League debut on October 5th, 2022, before he even turned 18. And here's where it gets interesting. Reports and insiders have suggested that Pep saw something special in Rico early and personally took him under his wing. That's great for Rico. That's also the definition of favoritism. Other academy players with similar or better stats sent on loan, sold with buyback clauses. But Rico stayed. He played. He became a regular rotation option. But here's the uncomfortable question fans are asking now. Does he actually deserve that starting spot? Because recently, City have been losing whenever Rico starts. The stats don't lie. And suddenly, the Pep's favourite narrative isn't looking like just trust, it's looking like stubbornness. That's why Rico leads this list, because his story isn't about legacy or famous relatives, it's about how one person with power can change your entire career trajectory just by deciding they believe in you, even when the results say otherwise. At number 6, Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham is talented, no question. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. His older brother is Jude Bellingham, one of the best young players in the world and a global superstar at Real Madrid. When Joe was at Birmingham, the same club where Jude became a legend as a teenager, he was already being hyped as the next Bellingham. Not because of what he'd achieved, because of his surname. Then Sunderland signed him, a championship club taking a 17-year-old from Birmingham's academy. And the reason wasn't subtle. Joe's potential was being evaluated partly through the lens of, if he's half as good as Jude, he's worth it. Soon enough, Dortmund came in for him, and from what we heard, not everyone at the club is pleased with him or his abilities. That's the definition of riding your siblings' coattails. Joe might develop into a top player, he's shown flashes, but the hype, the opportunities, the instant credibility, that came from being Jude's brother, not from what he'd proven himself. And here's the brutal truth. If his surname was Johnson or Smith, and he had the exact same ability, would Sunderland have signed him at 17? Probably not. Number 5, Cody Gakpo. Wait, Gakpo? The Liverpool winger who starred at the World Cup? Yeah, and here's the thing. He's still benefiting from favouritism right now. When Arne Slot took over at Liverpool, suddenly Gakpo, who'd been inconsistent and frustrating under Klopp, started getting more trust, more minutes, more freedom. Even when Luis Diaz was the best performer, Slot was rotating him with Gakpo. The Dutch connection is undeniable. Whilst everyone was disappointed that Diaz eventually left, no one was really surprised. That's manager favoritism in real time. But here's the part people forget. Gakpo has been benefiting from nepotism since he was a kid. His father was a coach and heavily involved in youth football in the Eindhoven region. That doesn't mean Cody didn't have talent, he clearly did. But it does mean he had access, visibility, and insider knowledge that other kids didn't. His pathway into PSV's academy, that had family connections written all over it. So Gakpo's entire career has been shaped by who he knows and who knows him. First his dad at PSV, now Slot at Liverpool. The difference is, Gakpo actually became elite. He outgrew the nepotism conversation by proving he belongs at the highest level. And here's the thing, Gakpo never hid it. He's talked openly about how his father influenced his career. That honesty is rare. Most Nepo babies pretend they did it all themselves. Quick pause. If you like these no-fluff breakdowns, hit like and subscribe. It genuinely helps the channel and it tells me to make more of these lists with names and context. And let's continue because the next one is where this stops being subtle. At number 4, Ethan Mbappe. Ethan Mbappe is Kylian's younger brother. And while he's shown flashes of ability, let's be clear about how he got into PSG's academy and eventually their first team. His surname is Mbappe. When Kylian was at PSG, the club had every reason to keep the family happy. Ethan made his PSG senior debut against Metz on December 20th, 2023, at just 16 years old. The reaction from fans was instant. Is he here because he's good or because of Kylian? And the honest answer is probably both. He has some talent, but would he have gotten that opportunity at 16 without his brother being one of the best players in the world? Absolutely not. But here's where it gets telling. In July 2024, Ethan left PSG and joined Lille on a free transfer. Kylian had already moved to Real Madrid, so now Ethan's at a different club, without his brother's shadow protecting him. And that's the real test. Can he make it without the Mbappe safety net? We're about to find out if Ethan was a genuine talent or just a package deal. Number 3. Francisco Conceição's path at Porto. Francisco Conceição is actually good. Like, genuinely talented, fast, tricky, can beat defenders. But let's talk about how he got to Porto's first team so quickly. His dad, Sergio Conceição, was Porto's manager when Francisco broke into the squad. That's not speculation, that's documented fact. And while Francisco had talent, the timeline of his promotion was suspiciously smooth. Here's the problem. When your dad is the one picking the team, fans will always question if you truly earned your spot or if nepotism played a role. Even if Francisco deserved it on merit, the optics are terrible. Other academy players grinding for years, watching the manager's son get fast-tracked, that breeds resentment. To be fair, Francisco eventually proved himself and earned a move to Juventus, where his dad has no influence. But the early acceleration at Porto? That's textbook Nepo baby behavior, even if the talent was real. And now we're entering the top 2. This is where the maybe it helped conversations stop, because in the next ones, the advantage isn't subtle. At number 2, Isaac Drogba. Being Chelsea legend, Didier Drogba's son, his route starts exactly where you'd expect. He grew up in England and came through Chelsea's academy system. But then, reality hits fast. The Chelsea pipeline is ruthless, and if you don't jump levels at the right time, you get moved along. So in February 2018, he left that track and joined Guingamp's under-19s in France. But reality hits again. He didn't turn that youth spell into a clear first-team pathway at Guingamp, and he eventually moved on from their setup instead of breaking through. For most kids, the football career would end right there. For Isaac, another opportunity came. Reports in Serbia said Nemanja Matic, Drogba's former Chelsea teammate, was the one who arranged for Isaac to come in and train on trial with Jedinstvo UB. Simply put, Isaac's arrival reads like a dad's friend from Chelsea move. Network first, evaluation second, and that's the part people pretend doesn't matter. No contract is guaranteed, no minutes are promised, but access is everything. If he isn't Didier Drogba's son, that call doesn't happen, that trial invite doesn't land, and he's just another striker sending clips and hoping someone answers. In football, getting through the door is often the hardest step. And finally, at number 1, Cristiano Jr. This one's tricky because Cristiano Jr isn't bad. Reports around his youth level describe him as quick, technically solid and serious about the work. But let's not pretend any of this is a blind trial where nobody knows who he is, because his pathway has basically mirrored his dad's passport stamps. He's played in youth setups connected to clubs Cristiano Ronaldo represented, Real Madrid, Juventus, Manchester United, and now he's training in Al Nassr's youth academy while his father is the face of the entire project. That's not a normal development route. That's a lane that only exists if your dad is Cristiano. When your dad is literally the biggest figure at the club you're developing in, you're not competing on equal footing. Coaches know the family, directors know the family. Every touch you take is being watched through the lens of legacy. And that legacy cuts both ways. The attention arrives before the resume. He's already framed as a future star simply because of who his father is, not because of what he's proven at senior level. That's why Cristiano Jr is number 1. Everyone on this list benefits from access. He benefits from a global brand. The name Ronaldo doesn't just open doors, it changes the building's rules. And that's our list. Congratulations, you've made it this far. Drop a comment. Which one of these surprised you most? Which Nepo baby do you think actually earned it? And which one is pure privilege? And if we missed someone obvious, let us know. Hit like, subscribe, and tap the next video now.